All right, members, I'm not an attorney, so I'm just going to give it to you real. I do not consider this to be eliminating a, quote, tort tax. I actually see it as protecting the profits of giant insurance companies like State Farm, Allstate, and Florida Blue. This is not about stopping litigation. It's about stopping litigation against specific companies. And I also find it super ironic because while we debate this bill, we have other bills that are actually going to grant one-way attorney fees on other types of issues that our governor thinks are too woke. So, for example, our governor wants to take away attorney fees from an individual. Oh.
Please stay on the subject of the bill.
Will do, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate that reminder. But I was going to say, while we take away one-way attorney fees for issues in this bill, we're actually giving it for issues on other topics. And so I find it really ironic and also just not good policy for us to do that, for us to pick and choose when one-way attorney fees could exist based on a political ideology. I asked questions yesterday on the House floor about savings. What guarantee is there that savings get passed down to consumers? I understand the proponents' arguments that, well, if we reduce litigation, we can maybe try to reduce the cost, and that'll be a savings. But that's just a hope. There has not been any evidence of that, especially with the last special session we just did. Premiums are still going up for our consumers. And so I can't vote on hope. I need facts. I need to see that savings will get passed down to consumers. And I see the emphasis on insurance companies, which is important, but other companies are also the ones who will benefit from this. Companies that were negligent. And it's so hard, members, because there are many survivors who have spoken in committee who still have not been made full yet. They still are waiting for that moment to be made full, years. And I think about Mia and her family seeking civil justice. Well, they also hope to have some sort of criminal justice, but in that case, that's not even possible because the perpetrator ended his own life. So for them, one of their paths is going to be holding that apartment accountable, the company that manages that apartment accountable. And when we create an environment where the bare minimum is okay and your profit margin is your motivation, and you save money when you do the bare minimum, I mean, what do you think that company is going to do? They're going to maintain the bare minimum. They don't have an incentive to do otherwise. And this is a point that we've made when it comes to healthcare liability. It's one we've made on liability with agricultural industry. So I understand it's not the debate that's probably the most effective, but it's just the fact that when you take it to the bare minimum, you're creating an environment where those actors don't have an incentive to ensure that people will be safe on their property, in their stores. And I think that the main responsibility of government is to keep people safe. And whether that's through the creation and the support of policies that intersect with the criminal legal field, or in this case, the civil field. And I just want to amplify, too, that this really is just a reminder of policy that really does prioritize business interest over everyday folks. And I really have just a pit in my stomach about that because I'm worried that everyday people who don't have money are not going to be able to have that fair day in court. And I want to make sure they do. And sometimes that does mean having an attorney with you because these situations are complicated. And if there's members in this chamber who read this bill and don't understand it, imagine what an everyday constituent will do. They have to hire that attorney, and if they can't afford to hire that attorney, they're going to be out of luck. And so that's why these attorney fees exist in the first place. And so for members who believe in a free market, I want you to consider this as one of those checks and balances within the free market. It just gives the everyday person an opportunity to have a fighting chance. And so with that, I encourage members to vote down this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.